name is Linda Brennan, and I'm the author of The SELKIE'S Daughter. One day, when I was writing in my journal, Brigit strode onto the page and demanded my attention. She was the daughter of a fisherman, a human fisherman, and a selkie, or a seal woman. And the SELKIE'S Daughter is her story. I am human upon dry land. I swim as selkie on the sea. And when I'm far and far from land, my home it is in Sulskeri. The wild wind keens across the spruce barrens, rattling the windows of our cottage on Finn's Point. Shivering, I splay my hand across the cutting board. Newborn veils of skin, blue pale and tender, connect my fingers. Cousin Alice sharpens her knife against a stone, tests the edge, then satisfied, turns to me. I kneel and hide my face in Mum's woolen lap, breathing its comforting smokiness. Mum strokes my hair. Ready, Brigit? I nod, though my inside's royal. Mum's hands are fully human. Why not mine? Why should I be marked and not Mum? At the last second, I try to jerk away, but Alice grips my wrist like a vice. Her blade comes down. Pain sears me. I suck in my breath and my vision narrows. Clinging to consciousness, I focus on the wind, throaty with alien voices. My blood pulses out, a salty sea washing away my otherness, flooding across the cutting board, pinging into the metal basin set on the floor. Mum's thighs tremble. She could never bear to cut me. Sorry, she whispers. That doesn't stop my dread. We both know that now I'm coming into womanhood. No matter how often Alice cuts the webbing away, it will return. Or at least, that's what the old tales say. When both hands are done, Mum takes my elbow and guides me into the rocking chair, tucking a blanket over my knees. Alice bandages my hands with a poultice of yarrow and spoons willow tea into my mouth. I lean my head back, weak as a spawned-out salmon. Thank you, Alice. Mum offers her a wooden spoon she carved from driftwood. It has a fish handle with glittering chips of oyster shell for scales. Alice recoils. The spoon clatters to the stone floor. A bit of oyster shell spins out, skidding to rest at my feet. Instinctively, I reach to rescue it. Gasping, I pull back, cradling my hands, cringing in agony. Alice's nostrils flare. What would I do with such a bauble in my good, plain house? I stiffen. The brittle old barnacle. Her house doesn't deserve anything so beautiful. Mum picks up the fish spoon and sets it gently on the table, her mouth a tight line. She goes into the keeping room at the back of our cottage and returns with a stiff salted cod from our shoulder-high stack. The villagers gossip about why Da's nets are so heavy laden since he married Mum, but he's just a better fisherman than any of them, certainly better than Alice's husband or her pimple-nosed son. Alice accepts the cod with a grunt. She points it at Mum. Mind you change that bandage twice a day. Mum nods. You won't speak of this? Alice's eyes flash. Have I ever gossiped before? You can trust me. I am kin. Da's kin, not Mum's. My mother has no ties on land. After Alice leaves, I rock by the warmth of the wood stove while Mum packs fish cakes into shape and sets them sizzling on the griddle. Tell me a story, I beg. One about Neve, the sea god's daughter. She's Mum's favorite from the legends, for she too belongs to the sea. All right. Mum rinses her hands in the basin of water she's ladled from a bucket, dries them on a muslin towel, and begins the tale of Niamh and Oisin. Even in distant Tir na Nog, land of the ever-young, Niamh had heard of Oisin, but his battle exploits didn't move her. After all, fighting was no great accomplishment for the son of Finn, a warrior born and bred. Mum stops to sweep the hair out of my face with her little finger. I look up at her, but then Niamh heard Oisin's poems. She fell in love with his poetry, yes? Mum gives me a wry grin. Aye, it was his way with words that stole Niamh's heart. Mum hums a little as she sets 4 earthenware plates on the table. Of course, as the sea god's daughter, Niamh was accustomed to getting her way, and she was determined to make Oisin her own. She set off upon her lily-white horse, and after many days' journey, she found him on a green and wind-swept hill, wending his weary way home from battle. Niamh dazzled Oisin with her beauty. He agreed to return with her to her father's kingdom, so off they galloped to Tir na Nog. Mum pulls silverware from the drawer. There Niamh bore him 1 child, then 2. For Oisin, 2 years passed, then 3. He was happy, but he missed his kin and the green hills of home. He begged to return home for a visit. Mum clutches a fistful of forks to her chest and stops. And Niamh finally let him go, I ask, although I know the answer. Mum stiffens and with a sigh returns to the table, setting a knife and fork beside each plate. Of course, Niamh had to because she loved him. She sent Oisin off on her magic steed, warning him not to set foot upon the land. But days later, her horse trotted back bearing an empty saddle. Her dear one never returned, so Niamh went searching. A knife drops with a clang. Mum pulls her sweater tight around her throat and stares out the window. Smoke billows from the griddle. I half rise, but my hands are useless. The cakes, I cry. Mum rushes to flip them onto a plate, but they're already scorched so badly I would have tossed them out for the creatures. Not Mum, though. She can't abide waste. She opens the grate of the wood stove and scrapes the burnt crust off the cakes, brushing the charred bits into the fire. After that, silence. Once again, Mum drifts off into her private world. I'm forced to tell the ending of the story to myself. As Oisin galloped across the countryside, he passed 3 little men struggling to move a huge stone. It slipped, almost crushing them. Oisin leaped off his magic steed to help them. But time passes differently in Tir na Nog. Oisin had been with Niamh 300 years, not 3. As soon as his foot touched land, time caught up with him. Oisin aged and withered and died. His beloved Niamh would ever grieve him, as my mum would ever grieve her ocean home. The SELKIE'S Daughter by Linda Brennan.